Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So at this point, I think everyone knows it's been a very rough year for Ubisoft. They've had flop after flop, whether it's Skull and Bones, Prince of Persia, X Defiant, Star Wars Outlaws, the list goes on and on. They have been struggling mightily. So it's not surprising to see the stock of this year for Ubisoft taking a major hit. Now, what a lot of people don't appreciate is that it's not just been a bad year for Ubisoft, it's been a bad couple of years. If you look at the stock over the last 5 years, it's been brutal. It's been on a steady decline pretty much that entire period. So it's not too surprising that there is a buyout looming. It's not a matter of if they're going to get bought out, it's a matter of when at this point. And it's ironic for the studio who has an executive who told gamers they need to get comfortable with not owning their games. Well, they're going to be getting used to not owning their own studio pretty soon. Now, it doesn't surprise a lot of people to see that the Ubisoft value tanks. Market cap dropped by 85% from 2021 to 2025. That is the headline here from That Park Place, and it is a really brutal situation. It's a lot worse than many people had thought. So over the past year alone, we have seen the market cap decrease by nearly 43%. 43% market cap decrease in 1 year. In fact, looking overall, once a titan in the gaming industry, Ubisoft has experienced a dramatic and concerning decline in value over the past 4 years. From a market capitalization of $12 billion in January of 2021, the company's value has plummeted to a mere $1.78 billion by January 2025. That decrease from $12 billion to just under $2 billion is shocking. It is shocking. I mean, yeah, everyone knew Ubisoft was in trouble. Everyone knows that. But that drop is just unprecedented. And for a lot of studios, right, they have one game go badly, they might be shutting their doors. However, Ubisoft, like they said, they were once a titan in the industry. They had a lot of room to play with. It wasn't going to be one game like Skull and Bones that was going to be their dismantling, but they've had so many flops that eventually it's caught up to them. You know, eventually they're going to run out of money. People are going to stop investing in them, and it's going to all collapse. And of course, the issue here is there's only really one project that they can put their hopes into, their Hail Mary pass, if you will, and that is Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is mired in many different controversies. People are predicting, not is it going to flop or not, it's a matter of how hard is this game going to flop. And it's getting so bad that people in the industry are now questioning what decision-making processes they're having at Ubisoft, and in particular on the Assassin's Creed Shadows team, because it doesn't make any sense. So here's a headline from Phantom Pulse saying, Gears of War executive producer baffled why Ubisoft chose to make Assassin's Creed Shadows with Yasuke as main protagonist. And also she'll express her confusion as to why they even took this project on in the first place. And who we're referring to is Laura Fryer, who is an absolute giga chatette, if you will. She is someone who is very experienced in the industry and also has been very vocal about a lot of the issues going on in the modern industry right now. And this video is a great example of that. I will put a link to it in the description if you want to check out the full video and her other takes. But we're going to play a small section here regarding Assassin's Creed Shadows and some of their decisions.
After having those experiences, I'm baffled about some of the things I'm seeing today. Did any of the executives at Ubisoft question whether or not doing Assassin's Creed Shadows was a good idea? I've been to Japan many times. I've worked with Namco as the producer on Revenge of Arcade, and during Xbox, I managed a team there. I love the people and the culture, and based on that experience, I would never have agreed to do this game, because even if you handled it as delicately as possible, it's easy to make a mistake. And I think they have. The game isn't even out, and it's already mired in controversy, and this isn't what you want for your game. Maybe it'll blow over and they'll be able to navigate this. But if not, that was a very expensive experiment.
Yeah, very well said as usual, Laura Fryer, but you can see, if you do actually respect the culture you're trying to represent with a potential game release, sometimes respecting that culture is saying no. And that is something that clearly Ubisoft doesn't care about with Assassin's Creed Shadows. They clearly have not respected the era, feudal Japan. They haven't respected the history, the culture, because they've made so many blatant mistakes. I mean, like, how does the Torygate situation with the merch, how does that happen if you have any respect for Japanese culture? And in this case, they took on an unnecessary risk by just taking on Assassin's Creed Shadows in general, and also the choice of protagonist or co-protagonist with Yasuke, which is a reflection of their lack of appreciation for Japanese history and Japanese culture. Now, while we're on this video, I want to play one more section because it relates to not only Assassin's Creed Shadows, but also a lot of other games in the current industry. And I think this is a take that represents what a lot of people like myself and other YouTubers have been saying for some time. So it's nice to hear someone from the industry confirm and put a little more punch behind it than the usual people like me saying it.
If you haven't heard, the art director of the game Avowed, which is set to ship early next year, decided to post some comments publicly about his game. Apparently there are pronouns in the game, and Elon Musk reacted on X saying that having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable. To which the art director responded, "I wanted so badly to make him mad with my game, and I cannot believe it actually happened. Just wait until you see the default, you said little shit." I personally find this situation baffling. Does he know Elon personally? Why does he want to make Elon mad with his game? Why would you say this to someone who is easily one of the most controversial people on the planet, and therefore has millions of people reading his posts? This interaction may be the one impression that people will ever have of the game Avowed.
So yeah, she's talking about the game Avowed and Obsidian, and this is a situation we covered a few weeks ago where really one person is tanking the reputation and the potential of the game and the studio developing it because they couldn't help their derangement syndrome with Elon Musk. Okay, you don't like Elon Musk? Fine. But making a game to spite him? That's insane. And it's a huge turnoff to a lot of people because anytime art is made out of spite for someone else, you know it's going to be absolute garbage. And that sort of sentiment that she just expressed is something, like I said, that I've been saying over and over again. It's proven itself so many times in recent years, especially in 2024. A lot of people are going to judge a book by its cover. They're going to take one glance at something, one glance at a game, and that's probably going to be the deciding factor of whether or not they support it. We saw that with Avowed. A lot of people will not be buying this game or even giving it a chance after seeing those comments from the person on their team. We've seen other games have a similar situation where a community manager or a developer said something disparaging about gamers, and then that game tanks because people do not want to support a product coming out of that sort of environment. And we've seen that with controversial opinions, or I should say hateful opinions, where people are expressing their hatred of gamers or mocking them or what have you. But we've seen other examples where even more benign but poorly worded comments have tanked the potential of a game. And the best example is something we recently covered as well, and that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is a game obviously working on a beloved IP that is underwhelming in terms of its results. It's not doing as good as they had hoped when they developed this game. That's just a fact. These numbers aren't Concord level failures, but it's just not good for a game that clearly had a lot of investment in it, and it's again sharing a beloved IP. They definitely expected more than these numbers that are only getting lower with each passing day. Now, why did people get so angry with this game and not give it a chance? It came down to one sentence. One sentence from a senior narrative designer who made this comment about the modern audience, making this game for the modern audience that was baked halfway through a showcase video released about a year ago. And this is it. Because of the lack of marketing for this game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle had almost no marketing. So a lot of people, this was their first and only impression of this game, and then they said no, and they had no interest in giving it a second shot. So what she was saying is definitely true, and the irony of this particular situation is that the game's not even woke. People were afraid the game was going to be woke based on this sentence alone, and the game came out and it wasn't even woke. In fact, a lot of people were pleasantly surprised with the game. It was something that they considered the best thing to come out of the IP in a long time, especially given the failure of the last two movies. So yeah, what a wasted opportunity. It didn't solely cause the game to flop or something, but it definitely cost them in terms of sales because of one bad look. And in that case, not even a truly malicious one like other examples we've seen, but it was enough to derail the potential of that game. Now let's go back to some other derailments of potential success. This is not obviously the only Assassin's Creed game in works. Shadows isn't the only one. We also have this codename Hex game coming out in the next couple of years, and we're getting some initial looks, the first glances at this game. These are officially confirmed previews of the game, and here's some of the highlights. It's going to be a very different upcoming flagship of Assassin's Creed. It's going to feature strong feminine energy. On top of that, it's going to be set in Central Europe in the 16th century, and basically it's going to be dealing with the mass hysteria about witchcraft. Oh boy, this sounds like Agatha all along, like girl boss witches, okay? This is going to be a very, very controversial game. You can already tell, like, forget Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let's pretend that didn't even exist, right? No controversy surrounding that, all of it wiped away. This would still be met with a lot of skepticism because people are wary of a 16th century setting having strong feminine energy. It seems like some virtue signaling going on. But now that we live in reality where Assassin's Creed Shadows did happen, we know Ubisoft is more than willing to pick a protagonist for virtue signaling points. They've made it very clear. So now this is taken with a completely different look than maybe if Shadows didn't exist. But yeah, like I said, no matter what, this would have been met with skepticism, and for a lot of people, they will read this line featuring strong feminine energy as directed to an Assassin's Creed title, and they're going to say, nope, no thanks. And it just shows the lack of awareness. They have no pulse on gamers whatsoever. And again, you can like that, you can dislike that, but there is definitely something to be said about featuring strong feminine energy in an Assassin's Creed title. And right now, Ubisoft is just hitting all the wrong buttons. And this isn't the only controversy they're facing with Assassin's Creed titles. Also, Assassin's Creed Origins is facing its own controversy right now. This game is about 7 years old. Very well-liked game, but it's getting review bombed recently. So as reported by Game Rant here, recent reports show Assassin's Creed Origins, a title from Ubisoft's flagship franchise, is receiving a large number of negative reviews. And they categorize this as review bombing. And you can see the absolute state of gaming journalism. 3 likes on an account with nearly 100,000 followers. And this is an hour, basically half a day, over half a day. It's just brutal out there for games journalists. But what they say here is that now, as if the Assassin's Creed series didn't already have enough working against it, Assassin's Creed Origins, a 7-year-old game, is getting review bombs for a recent update that is bricking the game for a lot of people and causing black screens, flashes, and freezes for many others. And if you see some of the evidence here, yes, it is getting a lot of negative reviews, but is this really review bombing, or is it people just upset with Assassin's Creed? And I understand, by the way, this is likely all on Microsoft's end, okay? But still, this shows how little patience people have with Ubisoft in any Assassin's Creed title right now. This is proof of how bad their PR is. You know, there's no reason to feel sorry for them in this situation. People think this is unfair. Well, at the bare minimum, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Microsoft's fault or Ubisoft's fault. The game is unplayable for a lot of people right now. So that's obviously going to reflect on the game itself, and it's going to lead to negative reviews. So it's not necessarily like review bombing out of just spite for something that is nonsensical. They're not getting the experience they have paid for. And just overall, again, it shows the bad will with Ubisoft. It could be 100% Microsoft's fault. It doesn't matter to people. They've just had enough of Ubisoft. But overall, it's just a mess with Ubisoft. The buyout is looming, and things are looking even worse than a lot of people had already suspected. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.